You've did well to reach our page so far. Make sure you follow, share, subscribe, and like. We are proud to announce that we've partnered with Core Assist Disability Services. If you or anyone has a disability, you can follow and contact Core Assist, and they will go above and beyond to help you all over Australia. We've also partnered with Imperial Glass and Timber for all your timber needs. This panel, Imperial. We love Imperial. From bespoke joinery to standard joinery, they have it all. We've hit 20 podcasts, 20
podcasts.
in less than a year.
Wowzers. All right.
By the will of God, by the mercy of Allah. What took you so long?
I don't know, man. I figured I'll keep you guys waiting. Make anticipation.
You keep me, myself, and I, or the guests?
Our thousands of followers.
Remember that?
Our thousands, mind you.
Remember in the short 6 days? The millions of millions?
Our international.
You know, there is international guests.
Oh, that's great. Where you go.
Oh, no.
It's on a global
scale. On a global scale. Oh, yeah. I've looked at the analytics.
Yes.
All right. And alhamdulillah, now whether they tune in for the full pod or half, I haven't looked into details. But there are listeners from the USA to Canada to the UK to Saudi.
Wow.
To Lebanon.
All over the shop.
Yeah, there's a big percentage in the UK and the US, being that we're English predominantly. Australia leads it the most. Melbourne as well. But, you know, subscribers, non-subscribers, make sure you follow and subscribe now. We're happy as long as people are enjoying it.
That's right.
We'll keep pushing the Chronicles of Faith. Also, we're debuting the new shadow lights.
Of course.
So we went with red and blue, as you can see. And the new logo, which, might be a touch high, but we'll see how we go when we edit.
Heavy duty.
Everything's raw.
Raw.
We don't fake it, you know what I mean?
No. That's no faking around here.
No. But you know what riddles me is that the first episode was the most viewed episode for like 15 shows. Or 10 shows.
The people were trying to say something.
Oh, you want to come back as a...
No co-hosting here, brother.
Not with your lifestyle, mate. You know, I've missed you, man. Lately, you convinced me to come out of retirement and get back into tennis.
Sort of convinced you?
Yeah, before Ramadan. And I haven't played tennis in a long time. I haven't even played sport in a long time. But then you were joking with me saying that you've never played tennis in your life, but I just thought it's a joke. When I got there, you've never played tennis in your life.
Yeah, never. I sincerely speaking, from as far as I can remember, might be wrong, but as far as I can remember, I had never held a tennis racket prior to our interaction.
And what made you want to randomly decide to take up a new sport, a new skill at your age? 2 words that'll change the way you deal with pain forever. Physio, motion, where Mo really puts you back into motion. You've heard about the infamous knee reconstruction that I've had, the chronic back pain that I've had, and one man helped me go back into motion. Not just that, helped me go back to playing sport when I thought I needed surgery. His name? Physio Motion. Contact him now and mention Chronicles of Faith podcast, and he will ensure that he gives you a tailored program that suits your needs. Don't feel like you're alone with the rehab, whether it's post-surgery, pre-surgery, back pain, lower leg pain, any type of muscle pain. Physio Motion will get you back into motion.
Well, good question. I would say multiple factors were part of that decision. First and foremost, it's a social sport, and I'm a social human. I need to be with others. I'm not the type that can be by myself. I get real bored real quick by myself. So social sport, very active. It's as long as it's done correctly and you have the right gear, not as aggressive on the knees, on the joints, on the hips, like footy, for example, or soccer at my age. Mid-30s sounds funny, but mid-30s is probably not the time to learn soccer or footy. We see at work many people in their 30s that used to play footy or soccer, and then they jump back into it in their mid-30s because they get children, they stop and whatnot. And most of them blow out their knees or their hips or their back. So think twice.
I want to digress shortly for a little time. I'll be digressing here. For those who don't know, what do you do for work?
All right. So I'm a personal trainer. I coach people in training and nutrition and the like. We mainly deal with people that have injuries or rehab stuff. Elderly. That's my main clientele. Been doing that for a while now.
Yeah.
And now I manage a personal training studio up in North Sydney.
Yeah, so you've been managing that gym for a while, right?
Correct.
So you've seen them all come and go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute because when we did the episode number 1, you were in a different stage of your career compared to now, mashallah. So yeah, with tennis, so as if there wasn't, I know it's just fun and it's just a sport and who cares, you just go have fun, but as if there wasn't a thing in your mind that pushing you, the resistance of why should I go, don't do it, you're going to be crap, you won't know how to play, you embarrass yourself, your friend will probably serve the crap out of you.
I guess I couldn't care less. It rhymes. So I'm the type of person that I'd rush to make fun of myself before others. I take things lightheartedly and I'm like, it's all right. If I'm going to look like an idiot for a while, that's okay. It's just part of the process.
It's
have fun.
All about the experience.
Exactly right. You don't have to get it perfect. You're going to get a lot wrong before, especially in tennis. The more I play it, the more I realize, oh man, this is a lot of technique in it and a lot of skills that must be acquired. And my age, it's not as fast. And because we've already developed certain habits, but still, just have fun. You're going to be made fun of. Make fun of yourself before others do.
It's so difficult to learn a new sport at your mid-30s compared to acquiring a sport or acquiring a skill acquisition during your adolescent to younger years where you're a sponge. And I watched you when you first hit the ball. You know, the trajectory of the ball was going across the other suburb. And I never doubted you that you'll be able to. Our goal was for you to just hit the ball over the net. And when I say this, for those who are listening, thinking, "Oh, these guys are talking about learning tennis," it's the concept behind it that you have challenged yourself to go out there and play a new sport or do a new sport, learn a new skill while getting fit.
Yeah.
And how long? We went for over a month, once a week.
Yeah, for a while. We did it.
For a while.
Yeah, for a while, for once a week.
Yeah, more than a month, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, must have done it heaps.
I mean, how were you, remember session 1 compared to session 6?
Honestly, it's silly. Now I've got a surprise for you. You don't know this, and I was planning on revealing this surprise on the court, but you know what? I'll drop it down on the podcast. So I've been getting tennis lessons.
Wow. You want to beat me, don't you?
I wasn't after beating you. That's not what I was after. But after playing with you, I realized how much skills are needed, and I can't acquire these skills unless someone knows what they're talking about, pinpoints those skills, and has the set of skills to guide me and coach me away from those habits into new habits.
Wow.
So I play other sports that make me do things a certain way. Now playing tennis, you have to drive with the back leg sometimes. So I'm not used to doing that. So now I'm having to reshift my mindset with that sport.
Say the truth. Are you looking to beat me or?
I honestly don't care.
No, I know.
Yeah. I just want to be able to play a game with you, if that makes sense.
You're competitive, but your competitiveness only extends to wanting to have a competitive match.
Correct. I just want to have a match. I don't want to sit there just...
I don't doubt that.
Out.
Yeah. Well, how was his coaching compared to my coaching?
So, your coaching's actually quite good. And was it for you, Graham, and you being patient with me, the first thing I was told as a new tennis learner was that, no one's going to play with you. No one wants to play with a guy that's just going to hit the ball out every second hit. And that's, again, I coach a lot of people that play tennis, and that was the main thing that was said. No one's going to play with you. So the reason I'm going for tennis lessons is because I can play with people, if that makes sense. I'm not going to be the best. I'm probably never going to win a game. I don't care. I just want to be able to get my cardio going and not stop the game abruptly every few seconds. That's my goal. My goal is not to be better than you or better than anyone, just better than what I am now. That's all.
I was fascinated there. I actually folded my arms because the consensus of people in your community was no one will play with you. And here was poor old Mustafa going out there.
The poor guy.
Poor guy. No, we had a lot of fun. And you know, the beauty about playing tennis in particular is that you're able to get through the rounds and actually have a meaningful conversation.
Yes.
A deep and meaningful conversation.
It was nice. I enjoyed it so much with you, man.
Yeah, and it was a nice release, you know.
It was. I agree. And again, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have enjoyed it. if it wasn't for you being patient, I wouldn't have played it again, most likely.
That's the least I can do because we always enjoy your company. But you know how you took on the role of managing the gym. I'm sure you'd realize that you're managing a range of personality.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah.
And the range of human beings and different ages. And I was at a PD the other day, and a special guest speaker, keynote speaker, came out and said that they defined the baby boomers to the Gen
Z?
X, I think, then or Y, then X, then Z. Then you have they call them Generation Alpha and Generation Beta. So Alpha is from 2010 to 2015, according to them. Or Beta, sorry. And Alpha is from this year.
2010, 2015, then Alpha's this year.
Every 15 years.
I've lost track of
I've lost track too. And then someone said, what about Gen Mega?
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are we out of
out of names? But what was funny, this guy, he specializes in behavior and human behavior, psychology, human psychology. He characterized all the different generations on the infographic, and he said that gone are the days of how people or the baby boomers would lead the next two generations, or how Gen X would lead Y and Alpha, or Z and Alpha. We're Gen Z.
Gen Z?
You're
Millennial, whatever they call it.
Oh, Millennial. There's a Millennial. I've forgotten the names. I'll pull them up soon on my phone. I need a laptop here. But the point was, he said that there was a certain way, like an autocratic way, chain management. You have the leader, then the 2 or 3, whatever your management system is, and you have the under them. And whereas now Gen Alpha and Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they are more reluctant through surveys to work that way.
Yeah.
They want to feel like they're a part of the business. Their say counts. They work more in groups rather than having one autonomous leader on top of that chain of command. So I know that's a long, long question.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you can relate to everything I just told you.
I definitely can, man. So first and foremost, I'd say we are having a crisis with workers. As a manager, I'd say most people nowadays have a misconception of what work looks like or what they're supposed to do. When I was young, they used to say you need to impress your boss, whereas now I don't need to impress anyone. I need to impress myself. Hang on, that's not how society works. So bring me back to this point in case I regret. Experience is important. Credentials are important. Not because you know how to diet and how to train, or if you're blessed with certain type of genetics that you're a personal trainer or you're a great coach. You'll see a lot of athletes are terrible coaches. You'll see a lot of athletes have coaches and they'll never become coaches themselves because they're just horrible at it. Credentials are important. You get credentials 2 ways, either study the thing and then you experience it. No other way. Not because you took photos for Instagram, you're a photographer. I'm having issues with this. Someone after our last podcast, when I say after our last podcast, very recently, actually, I saw that person. I hadn't seen them in a while. They said, I saw your podcast. I'm like, what podcast? I've forgotten about it. It's 20
episodes.
It must have been a year ago.
July 2024.
There you go. I said, what podcast? I haven't done it in a long time, any podcast. And then he said yours. I'm like, he said you're a guru. I'm like, hang on.
You're not that type of person, yeah.
It's not about me being humble. I get really iffy with that. I don't have my PhD in exercise science. I'm not a guru. If you want expertise, go to the people that have the expertise. I can help you in a certain way because I have experience and I've studied a certain thing and I'm still learning. But I can't be considered a certain thing. I haven't done 10, 15, 20 years of this job to be considered that at that level. Us classifying these things really quick, so saying this guy's an expert really quickly, or giving someone that has studied but doesn't have the expertise, the experience. We often see in our line of work people that have the expertise through studies, but they have the knowledge through studies, but no expertise through physical experience. They get everything wrong. You'll see that with doctors. Not much experience, a lot of studies. Most of the stuff they say is wrong. On the other hand, doctors that have enough studies and good credentials when it comes to studies, but some experience, they get much better at it. Or at the very least, they're open-minded and understand that things need experience and time to develop. So stop giving people titles they don't deserve. that's for you, not for them, if that makes sense. For you to understand how things work. And so bringing it back to work, not because you studied for 6 to 8 weeks how to become a personal trainer. Oh, wowza, you're a personal trainer now. No, respect the people that have the experience. And once you stop respecting that, you'll lose your touch. You can't make a difference at work until you're worthy. So they used to have that, Simon Sinek used to say that a lot about millennials. Millennials had this issue where I want to make a difference or otherwise I don't count. Hang on, what do you want to make a difference? Be a part of the chain, make the chain work. Then when your opinion matters and when you have the expertise, at that point you can make a difference. Many major companies, when they hire a new person, during work meetings, this person's not allowed to talk. Zero input because experience is needed.
Wow.
Yeah, so these Gen Zs that we're having issues with at the moment, they come into the studio and they want to train people and they don't realize that majority of our clients are 50, 60, 70, and some of them are even 80, mid-80s. These are people that have a lot of experience in life. You can't put one over their head.
And when we talk about experience in life, you have you're in North Sydney. So those who don't know the areas, North Sydney is the upper echelon in the SES and the high socioeconomic status of Sydney.
Generally
so you're talking about high-level bankers and
correct
corporate people, a lot of people in that top tier in their industry.
A lot of the medical and the law.
Medical law.
Up there
so you're talking about people who average between $250,000 to $400,000 a year minimum.
Yeah.
And they're very successful. Not to say that the West isn't like that.
But their success came different.
Their success came different. So you're saying that the millennials and alphas that come into, some of them, to your industry, they don't realize that they're talking to these people who have got 50 years behind them
of study and dealing with people.
And they're almost ordering them what to do, right? Their style is...
they're abrupt.
Yeah.
They're abrupt. They're entitled.
Wow.
I have issues, for example, with workers, Graham, where they come up. The shift starts at 5:30, hypothetically speaking, which is quite early in the morning. But you can't rock up at 5:25. By law, you're getting paid at 5:30. So to him, he's entitled to be like, nah, I'm showing up at 5:30. Me personally, since I started this job, not because I'm special, because I thought that's the standard, I'd show up at 20 minutes prior to the job. But the general gist of things now, I'm having to speak to workers and say, you can't show up at 5:28 and the client's waiting for you outside. It's almost rude at this level, at the clientele that you're dealing with. Yes, you're not getting paid till 5:30. I don't want you to do work, but you have to show up. You can't show up on the dot. Your eyes are still bloodshot red. But again, that's not one person, two people. That's the general gist of the workers there's lack of pride in one's work now.
Do you find that it also goes back to people wanting to make money quick?
Definitely. It's a lot of social media.
Social media, get rich quick schemes, crypto, all these other ways of don't be pushing people, which is fine to be an entrepreneur, by pushing people to get out of the 9 to 5. And
how many influencers do you see now? Quit your full-time job. You should be doing this on Instagram and this on. So what are you talking about?
Drop shipping.
What are you talking about? If everyone quit their their full-time jobs, we'll have a bunch of morons in society. Imagine every doctor quit to post on social media and every dentist quit to. Who's going to fix your teeth? Who's going to build your houses? That's not how society works. People need to do things and that's okay. We don't all have to be the same. And I think it's silly to expect the same. But you want to achieve a place in life where you're respected, that only comes with hard work. I work in North Sydney and my name is Mustafa.
Ooh.
How do you think that first reaction to people when they're paying a premium and they get told that their personal trainer is a rookie called Mustafa?
And manager.
Now manager, but again,
before,
I had to work really hard just to gain respect. I'm not special, but I had to. Where I saw the same trainers that are my age and my level of skills, when they got handed a client, because his name's Matthew, for example, the clients will be more than happy. They won't question their trainer. Whereas I got questioned a lot. I had to work much harder, and I'm not special. Again, I don't think I'm special in any way, shape, or form, but I had to prove myself. And if you're coming to the industry, new to any industry, as a worker, you must prove yourself. Yeah, impress your boss. I'm not saying suck up to him and say
don't brown nose him.
No, have an opinion, have thoughts, debate when debate is needed, but Yes, suck up, as in, not suck up, sorry, impress if need be.
I was watching something the other day, and I remembered you. I watched it today, actually, and on it, and this now shifts the blame from the generations that we've mentioned to those who are in authority or authority figures. And they said often authority figures who are vague in their instruction and are ambiguous, and that just led to them, it kind of isolated them as being incompetent and most often toxic leaders, because they don't want to take accountability.
True.
So yes, you expect the employees to work hard and earn their place and work themselves up in the chain, not just coming from day one, say, I want to make a difference, I want to be in the top echelon of your company. But then if you flip it and you look at many leaders out there,
correct,
they're vague, they're ambiguous in their speech, and it's as if it leads to them not wanting to take accountability.
Yeah.
So if something goes wrong, they say it's your fault.
Yeah, that's so true. When I first took on management role, I spoke to one of my clients. Now he's traveling around the world. This guy's a corporate lawyer. He managed a bunch of lawyers. He's been doing it for a very long time. He's very successful. So he manages a law firm pretty much full of very successful lawyers. When I said to him, I don't want to mention his name, like such and such, what's your advice? Management. I said, what's the first thing I can do for myself to become a good manager? And he said, show up. He goes, by you showing up, you would have done 90% more than every other manager in the world, around the world. Just show up. So, but showing up takes a lot of effort. Like you said, I think you mentioned something so important. Leaders can become so complacent so quickly, and their complacency is so toxic. It trickles down the line very quickly.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. So I had an issue once with a guy that thought, because he's highly educated and his level of education is higher than everyone else in the field, you couldn't talk to him. So he would misquote studies, he would misquote things, and he would say things that are all wrong. Not because he's uneducated, he's clearly has a higher level of education than all of us in the present, but because he got so complacent, because he thought he's the expert and that's it, he does not need to learn anymore. Where if you I'd literally quote studies, multiple studies saying things opposing him, recent studies, not 20 years ago, not 30 years ago. He'd be like, no, not true. No argument, no debate, no evidence-based anything from a guy that's got a PhD in this. No, not true. What are you talking about? Refer to the studies. You're a doctor in this. You, out of all people, should respect the studies and the data. No, his response is, nope, not true. Data means nothing. But again, that's complacency. So if you put a person like that in a leadership role, and pointing fingers is another one, correct that path if you can.
Why do you think that's the case?
Lack of personal development, lack of understanding that leadership is a skill. If not everyone has, it's okay not to have it. Not everyone's born as a leader, but the very least you can do if you're going to become a leader or manage is train. I've seen many organizations where someone's been there for a long time and he unrightfully got handed the role of a leader or a manager, not because of his qualification, but rather because he sucked up or he said the right things, or they wanted to shut him up, or whatever it was. You must deserve your role is number one. If you promote someone that doesn't deserve the role, you've already degraded the role.
Wow.
The position of the role, that's number one. Number two, if the least you could do is if you promoted someone into that role and they're not qualified, is to hire people to actually get them up to date. So when I became a manager, I hadn't managed a studio in my life. The owner of the business was very clear. He goes, I'm not a great manager and I understand where I'm at in life. He goes, but what I could do for you is I can hire this company, which costs him thousands of dollars a year. He said, and they'll train you how to become a great manager.
He invested in you.
Thousands of dollars. If it was me, I would think a gazillion times for investing that sort of money in it. He said, I can't do it. And I understand that knowledge is important. So let the people that know how to do it.
You've always been an advocate for knowledge, and you've experienced this type of industry. You've worked in the trade industry, but you always used to advocate for knowledge and learning. And
correct.
Even for example, when we used to do the old podcast, you didn't just dive in at nose deep and blindedly. You took the time to learn how to edit at a basic level because we're not experts. You and I remember you were pursuing your career at the time through education. So despite what I can take away from everything that you just said is that knowledge is key, humility is key, and also know your place in life.
Definitely.
And no matter how smart you are or how intelligent you are or how much of a head honcho you think you are, there's always someone better than you around the world.
Yeah. But you're so insignificant sometimes. You just got to realize that.
Yeah.
Here's a trick that you can do with yourself, works a charm. A great manager knows when to do it with his employees. I think the guys I worked for first were great at this. They mastered the art of the sigmoid curve. Have you heard of a sigmoid curve?
Yeah.
So learning a skill or starting something new, there's a learning curve. So you start at the learning curve, you hit a point where you peak at this curve. Now, prior to peaking at this curve, you have to know when to hand them a new set of skills. So the curve goes up, then plummets back down. Plummets. The reason it plummets is because of human nature. So let's say I'd learned tennis. I got kept at it. I got so good at it. The reason I got so good at it is because I got so just learnt it so much, and I kept taking lessons and watching videos and just hyper focused on the skill until I learnt that skill. I will plateau and it will crash unless I learn a new skill. So a great coach knows how to do this and a great manager knows how to do this. The guys I worked for prior would say, okay, we're going to teach you a new skill. The new skill is presenting, for example. This is the art of presenting. This is the personal development that's required for you to get checked off with presenting. And you only get checked off and earn your points, the hat point system. You only earn the points when you actually had done all the prior work. Once you've done it, you get the points. Then once you learn it and you get really good at it, they strip it from you. Give someone something to do that they're not good at. Now, as soon as you do that, then they have to start going back on that curve again. And they won't plateau and crash, get bored and crash.
That's so true, because I was looking at I'm not going to mention names here. I need to be very particular. And I was looking at from afar, and the same people were doing the same. I'm not talking about positions here. I'm talking about more roles on the floor. The same people were doing the same thing for a long time, compared to if we were to flip that, and every couple of years, every year, or every 6 months, switch the roles around.
You have to.
Rather than you being on the left, go on the right.
Yeah.
Rather than you being on the right, go to the left. I'm not talking about key aspects of the work.
No.
Just giving them new tasks to do.
You'll keep that spirit up. That sigmoid curve stays at its peak.
Well, how do you spell it?
Sigmoid. It's a sigmoid, one
sigmoid,
word.
Because I want to.
I'll show you.
Sigmoid curve.
So you've got inception, growth, maturity, and then decline.
Wow.
Point is, so again, they'll teach us, for example, how to present once you got really good at presenting. And usually they'll give you a skill that you're really bad at, you're terrible at it. And in fact, you're scared of. Some people hate public speaking. They'll be like, you know what? You're doing it, mate. Guess what? This is your role for the next 6 months.
Wow.
Master it. Once you get good at mastering this, they'll be like, okay, now you're good at it. Go away. You're doing something else. When I came into this job as a manager, I realized that tendency of managers seem to be give people things they're good at. No, that's a horrible mentality, because they'll be really excited for a week, then that curve would hit its peak because they're really good at it. They're not learning anything. Human nature, the curiosity of humans will be like, it's not for me. Well, I'm bored. I already know everything I need to know about it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to learn anymore. So, and plateaus and goes back down, decline. No, we had a guy that's really good at coaching, really good at people, being one-on-one with people. You couldn't get better when it comes to socializing and being with people. He was terrible at reading programs, writing programs. So like, guess what, mate? He goes, what? Like, you're in charge of auditing all the programs. He goes, but I can't write a program. Like, well, that's your problem now. For the next 6 months, you're auditing the programs. Not only are you writing them, you're checking every program that gets written, making sure it's right. Spelling mistakes are not there. Typing mistakes are not there. Tempos are right. Tempos are actually written correctly. You've got to give that shock. You keep that learning curve up and up and up. You can't let them reach their plateau. As a great manager, bad manager will be like, nah, he's good at it. Give that to him. I don't want to worry. I'm not bothered. That's complacency.
Well, you know what you've done there? If that person leaves, there's someone else to fill that void.
Correct.
Whereas if you're doing the tasks you're only good at, and you're thriving, but you're only doing that task because you're good at it,
Then you leave.
then you leave. Good luck finding that void.
Yeah, you've shot yourself in the foot as a manager or as a
Wow.
business owner.
Wow.
So, but imagine it takes a lot of guts and a lot of effort as a manager to stay on top of it and say, okay, he's really good at this now. It's time for him to move. Otherwise, he'll get bored and he'll start complaining about things he didn't even know he needs to complain about.
Wow.
Keep that momentum going. Keep that momentum going. He gets good at it. Next task. He gets good at it. So one guy, for example, he does not use social media, and that's okay. But maybe I need to give him the task of social media posting for work. That's not because I'm not trying to punish him, but because giving him something that he dislikes forces him to learn a new skill, forces the brain to switch on and be like, you know what, I need to learn.
You know, a lot of managers, they suffer from something, especially in Australia. It's called imposter syndrome. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, man. Heard different translation, or different interpretations. What's your take?
The meaning of it
Yeah.
Is that the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of their own effort or skill.
That's scary, man.
There's another meaning of it. It's So do you ever find yourself thinking, I'm a fake, or I don't deserve to be here, or I'm not smart enough to be here? That's imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Far out. That's scary.
So here's an example. Employees who do not think they deserve a raise or promotion, despite their years of service and success. Students who feel out of place among their classmates, even though their test scores and grades are as good. So it's actually, compared to tall poppy syndrome, imposter syndrome is they're worried about their own self.
Yeah.
The imposter within, which inhibits their success.
That would inhibit your success.
Yeah. So not more. So
it works both ways, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have
it's like a double-edged sword, this imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and I'll give you another example. Imposter syndrome does not make us weak or inadequate. It makes human imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, it can be associated in relationships. It can be associated in work life. It can be associated in everyday life. In a relationship, it's when you feel like you're not good enough for your partner, even though they show you love and appreciation.
Just sort of almost like, what do they call it? Self-confidence?
Yeah.
Sort of, like, not in every case, but in a relationship case, that would be like, because they're giving you all the support they can. You don't believe in yourself, sort of thing.
But then on the other end of the spectrum is, how can you tell if someone is an imposter? Two-faced, when you see on the outside isn't what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive, an imposter is basically living a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Secretive, when confronted or asked to communicate. An imposter is skilled at avoiding clear and direct answers.
That
needs its own podcast.
Too much experience. Too much,
psychology.
No, too much dealing with people that, I guess people don't like confrontation nowadays, so it makes it even worse.
Why do people avoid having difficult conversations? Why?
The lack of experience doing it. And again, they're not being pushed towards being gutsy enough to do that. Like, why are people not going to gyms? I'm scared. I'm saying, and when I say that, I say people that have never done exercise before. I'm scared. I'm worried. People will look at me funny. I need to go to a certain gym that has a certain demographic because such and such. That's scary, man. Imposter syndrome. People need to step out of their comfort zone. They honestly do. And you need to stop holding resentment towards people by not talking to them. Now, as always, I'd say this is advice for myself prior to giving it to anyone else. But if you have an issue with someone, do not resent them unless you can talk it out. Not unless you can talk it out. Don't resent them. Go talk to that person. And I'd say, especially in the case, if you care to have that person still in your life, don't hide away. You hold resentment, you back up into a corner and you ignore that person, pretend he doesn't exist or she doesn't exist. When I first started working for this place, a couple of years into it, I like being patient and giving people their time and allow for people to understand people and not judge people quickly. 2 years into that job, I wasn't happy. I had an issue. I had an issue with people pointing fingers. I had an issue with so many issues. I went to one of the smartest people I've met at work, to be honest. very, very successful person, runs a multi-million-dollar company and manages hundreds of workers, and he's grown up in this life because his father was the same. Best advice he gave me was, if you care about this person and you care about staying here and keeping them in your life and not burning bridges with them, don't resent them, talk to them, even forget ugly. He goes, and you start with the ugly if that's going to break the barriers. And I did. I was resenting that person. I was upset from them. So I said, I messaged them. I'm like, you know what? I disagree with everything you do. I disagree with everything you say. I dislike it. I care about you. And if I wasn't your friend and I didn't care, I'd walk off. I'll shut you down. I'm like, this is not for me. I care about you. I care about your business. I want to be. After saying that, I got promoted at work.
Wow. After you did that, you got promoted.
Oh, mate. And the things I said were not pretty.
Wow.
Were not pretty. Like if you say it to someone, you think they will never talk to you again. I'm like, you know what? But I care about that person, and maybe that showed. And that person said, you know what? It's the first time I've ever seen such a behavior. And if he didn't care and he actually couldn't care less, you wouldn't do that.
We know the saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about when two people are arguing and there's no تركوا لا not تركوا لا يعني لمن ترك المراء. So the best of you are those who, when you argue over something where there's no religious benefit for it, the one who leaves that arguing for the sake of Allah is rewarded immensely.
How pretty is that?
I've forgotten the sayings.
But how often do you see that?
No. So you and I are arguing about this microphone. We're debating. You say it's a road. I say, no, it's not a road. It's a shore. You can't see the brand. No, it looks like a road. So we spend half an hour debating over something pointless.
That's right. How y'all see that every day?
Yeah. So if one of us says, let's just do our research and whatever it is, we'll find out. And we'll leave it. It has no religious benefit.
Yeah.
One's rewarded immensely.
Mate, you know what's funny? Remember the story I told you I got called the guru in? So I went to say my condolences to someone. Their mother had just died. I said my condolences, and then the person next to him said such and such. You're a guru. I saw a podcast. Then I explained, I'm not a guru. Go to the experts that have expertise and knowledge to get your knowledge. Don't come to me. I don't post on social media. In fact, if you know me, I think I have social media that I haven't logged into for years.
Yeah, it's very hard to connect to social media.
I don't do that stuff. I don't believe people should be present at all times. I don't think this is how human nature is, to be present at all times, ready for messages and response. Anyhow, those two, because of me, I didn't say anything. All I said I wasn't a guru. They started having an argument about diet and exercise, and I said nothing about diet and exercise. That's what I do for a living. None of them do that for a living. They started arguing about keto, and the other guy arguing about other stuff, and their points of view as to why A is right or B is right. And the guy's mother had just died. It's her funeral. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now. I honestly didn't know what's going on. I walked right off. I'm like, I said my condolences. I'm like, all right, mate, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to be part of it. I don't even want to listen to it. Like, had you cared, if you truly thought I'm a guru, you'd be like, okay, what do you reckon?
So the same person that called you a guru.
Yeah, he had a very solid and watch, it was all wrong. Like, from a science perspective, it was all wrong. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it now. I'm coming for a different reason. I couldn't care less. If you came to me privately and need help, I'd love to help. But clearly you don't. You wanted to prove a point, like you said, argue about something, and now you're talking to the guy that his mother just died about exercise and diet, and he is so blinded by the fact that his mother just died, and he's just having to go back at you.
One of the hardest things you can experience in life is the death of a parent.
Yeah, but again, we get caught in tangents. We get caught, right? Like, you get caught, say, in a rant.
But what about the cues of the social cues or the emotional cues?
But again, clearly they had points to prove, and they couldn't care less who's right and who's wrong. It's just my point, and I see that often.
Is it an ego thing, do you think?
I don't know, man. It's like again, bring it back to everyone that posts photos on Instagram is a photographer. Everyone that has got a camera phone's a photographer.
What about everyone that has a podcast?
It's an expert at something. Point is, humble yourself. You're very insignificant in comparison to everything around the world, how everything plays out around the world. Be nice to others and accept the fact that people know things.
We had Brother Holshar on the other day, and
nice.
A few months ago, actually. And one of the signs that he mentioned during the journey of the Isra and Mi'raj, as you know, was when the Prophet seen the acts, the incredible, or the wondrous acts. And one of them were, he's seen the one who's arrogant and the opposite of humble.
It would be a close arrogance.
Arrogant, yeah, arrogant, and would see themselves bigger than everyone else, walk in a pompous manner, act in a pompous way. Or he's seen them as if they were like an ant getting squashed.
Mhm.
And that was a sign of perhaps the torture that person would have in the day of judgment because of that behavior. So who are we? Who are we as individuals? No matter how smart you are, no matter how talented you are, no matter how great you are with your skills, who are you?
That's so true. So true.
We're slaves of Allah.
Yeah.
We're born to worship Allah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. What's the meaning of that ayah?
So, ins and the jinn, so the humans and the jinn were created by Allah Azza wa Jal, so we can worship Allah.
That's the purpose of our life. Yes, we work. It's a financial means to support our family. We have career goals, family goals, different types of goals. But our main purpose on this earth is to worship Allah, the one, the only, without a partner. And subhanAllah, you find that even people who are learned in religion, they forget that. And they get involved in these debates. And they might surprise you saying, he's learned in religion more than me, way more. And he's doing this, but...
Do you find that very often? Like in the science of medicine, there are religious texts from scholars that say, don't give your opinion when it comes to the science of medicine, because it is a science that is taught not only by education, but it's also taught by knowledge that's passed on from one to the other. In other words, experience. Hands-on experience from one person that gets an apprentice. And in case he's apprentice, this guy's coming doctor, he's his apprentice. And that's how the medical field is built, by the way. Books, education, a lot of education, and then on the field experience. Whether you like it or not, they go by data, they use science to the best of their abilities. You often find people that are well-versed in the religious science of the religion, and understand those statements. Do not give your opinions when it comes to the matters of medicine, unless you're an expert in medicine.
Wow.
In fact, you give your opinion and it's wrong. Some scholars even said it's a major sin.
Wow.
It's that deep, man.
What about
and
those?
How often do you hear it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
What about then those who are not versed at all in religion and are ignorant in the religion, and they're giving their opinion about the religion?
Same thing. Leave that to the experts.
What did the scholars say about those who give a religious judgment without learning?
Well, the least it's major sins are the least of such a thing. So be careful. In other words, not because it doesn't concern you, you can talk willy-nilly about it. Respect the experts, respect the data, So how am I going to go to a sheikh and say, I know about teaching Islam more than you? Even if I memorize more books than him, if he has the hands-on experience and he learns it from others, no matter how many books I've memorized, at the moment, as it stands, he has the expertise over me. So humble yourself. People have their jobs and their titles for a reason, not because we are in the age of knowledge and what do they call it nowadays?
The age of technology.
Well, yeah, they say knowledge is so readily available now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So everyone's an expert at everything. Well, that's not the case. That's not the case. Like I told you, people have PhDs in exercise science and they are the worst coaches in the world. You cannot come near them and be like, this guy's an absolute idiot. He's never taught a person in his life and no one will accept advice from him. Because that's not how it's taught.
We're in the age of information.
That's the word.
Where it's so accessible, but everyone has a jack of all trades in any industry because of social media.
Yeah. So it's okay to ask. It's okay to learn. It's okay to say, you know what? I need to base my stuff off of knowledge. And if I got it wrong, it's possible that I get it wrong. I don't have to prove myself.
Yeah, that's the exact point I was going to touch on.
Die on that hill, as they say.
A man of wisdom once taught my best friend and I, he's very smart. He threw out something to us and we're both competitive. So we argued for we're younger. Mm-hmm. We argued for ages trying to find the right answer. What's the right answer? No, you're wrong, I'm right. Then he started laughing and he was smoking this guy. Mm-hmm. And then he just put the cigarette away and he said, What if you both just told each other, no arguing, you go home and research. I'll go home and research. And then we talk again to teach one another what was the right answer, not to put it on each other.
Based on knowledge.
Based on knowledge.
Yeah.
And he said, and he taught it, he went for half an hour, gave a lesson about it. He said, always remember you're there to upskill one another. You're there to learn off each other. He said, what's the point if you argue for an hour about if this is a shore or a road, then you both go home angry from one another, even though you're mates, then you still won't know for the next 30 years whether it was a shore or a road.
What did you gain?
What did you gain?
Yeah.
Compared to, you debated, you couldn't find the answer.
Very strong.
I want to go Google it and research properly. I want to go do evidence-based research. And then we're going to provide each other with the answer.
Yeah. And help each other grow.
Not
bury each other.
This was taught to me nearly 10 years ago, around 8 years ago.
Far out.
How much wisdom is there in there?
Yeah.
So to everyone out there that's listening, rather than just debate one another to just put it on each other, actually say, no, refrain from debating without, if there's no religious benefit, find the answer and actually educate the other person and yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you won't hold resentment. You won't get upset towards the other person.
Holding resentment is another podcast.
Yeah.
You know, when you fill your heart with resentment, you're filling it with darkness.
Yeah.
What for? Why are you carrying that mountain on your shoulders? Even if someone wronged you, clear the resentment.
Yeah.
Allah is the most merciful.
That's right.
Allah is the most merciful. And who are we to hold that resentment in our heart and think about it day and night? Just clear it, get rid of it.
What a waste of time and energy, man.
Before we end the podcast, I went on a self-discovery journey, I think, over the last 2 years.
What did you
discover?
discover?
23, 24, after I went to Hamra, actually. And I tried to fight myself and clear all the resentment in my heart towards anyone I had resentment for. And it wasn't easy.
No.
It's challenging, especially those who have hurt you and wronged you. I tried, for the sake of Allah, to just keep clearing the resentment. Once one guy said, oh, you can't work with that guy because, you've got history. I said, no. I actually traveled. I seen that guy. I hugged him. I embraced him. You know why? They said, why did you do that? Like, you've got history with that guy. I said, to prove to myself that I've cleared the resentment in my heart.
Correct. And there's nothing wrong with it, man.
That's the way of the Prophet.
There's nothing wrong with it. Even if you had something with him before and now it's good. Now you're working together.
Yeah.
Instead of staying away from each other.
And like daily, interacting with people daily, you're always going to have difficult conversations, disagree with one another. I honestly try to go home wherever I am. I'm not referring to my workplace. In everyday life, family, cousins, friends, work, play, everywhere, to just go home. And if I have any resentment in my heart before I sleep, to just try to clear it. What for?
Do you remember I forgot which prophet it was. He came and knocked on his son's door, which was another prophet. I forgot subhanAllah which prophets they were. He knocked on his son's door and his son was away, was absent from the house. And so the son's wife answered the door. He asked her, how are you going? And the meaning of how are you going? And her reply was nothing but complaints. This is wrong, this is bad, this is negative, but it's just nothing but complaints. And then his response to her, tell my son to change his doorstep. The point is that she greets people with negativity and maybe she's not the right person or she needs to change her mentality. Stop being so negative, just holding resentment towards everything in life. We often see that with people that are really busy at work and they get caught up with drama at work. They bring the drama home and now they affect their personal life at home with their wife or with their partner or with whatever it is with their family, their mum and their dad. They're so upset that they can't just snap out of it. Snapping out of it is a skill. It is very, very, very hard. And for us to leave anything today is learn the art of snapping out of it. Snap out. That's it. Snap out of it.
And we need to snap out of this podcast.
I know, what a shame. Be here all night.
Even though I can go for another hour.
The listeners will go to sleep after this.
I appreciate you coming on board.
My pleasure, sir.
It's going to take another 20 episodes to get you back because you can come whenever you want.
I appreciate it. If the people want me back and you're happy, I'm always happy to be here.
I'm prepared for you because of how much history we have, how much love I have for you.
Wow.
To create a playlist just for the
playlist.
Eminem. But then you have the third M saying, "Are you serious?"
Yeah, he'll be.
We can put him over there.
He'll be on the front foot complaining.
Yeah, are you serious?
What's going on?
Yeah, but Barakallahu fiqh. I hope the listeners were able to take a lot away from this podcast. I definitely did, as always.
Yeah.
And I'll see you on the court.
That's it. Inshallah, I'll see you there.
Take care.